From the radio service of Royal Multimedia Business Group, a pleasant good evening. Welcome to King's News Broom, 45 minutes of the most compelling news from Liberia and other parts of the world. Stories topping the news tonight. Former House of Representatives Speaker Councillor J. Funanti Kofa is requesting a 2-month medical leave and constituency visit from the House of Representatives. Several victims of the December 26, 2023 Tenga explosion have announced plans to stage a peaceful protest this Saturday in Totota County in demands of benefits. The office of Mangibi County Senator Nathaniel Mangill suspends its Mangibi County Coordinator Cyrus Adil Conan for time indefinite in connection to alleged motorbike theft. In away from Liberia, Gambian government has announced an investigation into the sales of assets seized from former President Yahya Jammeh following widespread public concern. The headlines, the bulletin of the news, the voices of the newsmaker, and our foreign development are all packaged in tonight's edition of the news program. A very short break to be back with the bulletin of the news. Thanks so much for rejoining us on the news program. The House of Representatives has acknowledged a formal communication from Grand Crew County District Number 2 Representative J. Funanti Kofa informing the body of his absence due to medical leaves and constituency visit. In a letter addressed to Chief Clerk Majorette and signed, Representative Kofa stated that he would be away for approximately 2 months, citing health-related reasons and the need to engage with his constituents in Grand Crew County. The communication further requested the Chief Clerk to extend the excuse to the Speaker, Speaker Richard Coon, the Deputy Speaker Thomas Falla, and the members of the House of Representatives. The plenary of the House of Representatives has acknowledged receipt of the communication and is expected to record Representative Kofa's leave as excuse. The communication was read during the second day sitting of the second quarter of the second section of the House of Representatives 55th Legislature. Several victims of the Totota Tenga explosion have announced plans to stage a peaceful protest on Saturday in Totota Salah District, Broom County. The demonstration is intended to draw the attention of the national government and development partners to what they describe as the failures of the Disaster Management Committee headed by Totola Vapala to deliver on promises made in the aftermath of the strategy. Speaking Thursday on a local radio station in Bangan, Aliyu Conan, spokesperson for the victims, stated that the committee has initially pledged to provide a comprehensive report detailing donations and relief packages. Conan expressed concern over the apparent lack of support for victims, despite what he described as huge donations intended for their recovery. Conan further alleged that the local disaster management committee has politically influenced and composed largely of supporters of the ruling Unity Party. It can be recalled on December 26, 2025, a tanker belonging to Liberian renowned businessman God's Willing exploded in Tototabon County, leading to the death of over 200 persons. The office of Mangibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill has suspended its Mangibi County Coordinator, Cyrus Adiu Conan, for time indefinite in connection to alleged motorbike theft. Speaking on Radio Mangibi recently, the chief of office staff in the office of Senator McGill, Varma Gray, said any action which has the propensity to undermine the senator office, a staffer will be resistant to the code. He indicated that Sarah's alleged action has created serious embarrassment for the McGibby County Senator owing to his decent character he has demonstrated over the years. Gray emphasized that if Cyrus Kona is guilty after the investigation, he will be totally disassociated from the office or the offices of Senator McGill to serve as deterrent to others. He further noted that people who work in the public domain should be people with decent character. Representative Anthony Williams of District Number 2, Maryland County, has raised serious concern over the illegal presence of Burkina nationals in the southeastern region of Liberia. Speaking in an interview Thursday, Representative Williams disclosed that the Burkinabes are not residing in local villages, but are instead occupying remote forest areas, primarily in the counties of River G, Bunk, Maryland, and Nimba. He alleged that these individuals are engaging in illegal activities, including the destruction of Liberian forest resources, without the knowledge or oversight of the Liberian Immigration Service. Representative Willen further warned that the situation poses a potential security threat, recalling that some trained Burkinabese fighters were present in Liberia during the country's civil war. He urged the government to take swift action to investigate and address the matter. The lawmaker also referenced a previous incident in Bond County where Burkinabese nationals were reportedly caught producing illegal chemical, adding to the growing concern over the activities in the region. Senator Liaison Johnson has announced that the House of Representatives will initiate proceedings to petition the impeachment of the Chief Justice and all Associate Justices of the Supreme Court. In an interview Thursday, the Senate liaison officer Johnson said Liberians are becoming increasingly aware that the court decision lacks neutrality. He stated the citizens have noticed that the Supreme Court ruling was political. According to Johnson, the decision does not only threaten national stability, but also nearly resulted in the impeachment of President Joseph Boakai. Johnson emphasized that the ruling almost pushed Liberia into chaos and the potential removal of the president. Johnson thanked President Boakai for maintaining impartiality amid the controversy involving Representative Richard Coon and House Speaker Funati Kofa. Senator Johnson went further to accuse the Supreme Court of attempting to innate conflict between the judiciary and the Unity Party-led government. Liaison added, it appears the court wanted to provoke Liberians into conflict with the current administration. His comment comes as political tension raised and lawmakers begin discussing possible impeachment proceeding against members of the Supreme Court. A staunch member of the Congress for Democratic Change, Neve Kautu, has expressed dissatisfaction over the election of Richard Coon as Speaker of the 55th National Legislature. He said lawmaker action should be guided by laws, noting that there are standing rules that govern the House of Representatives. Kautu indicated that the action of some lawmakers by circumventing the Liberian Constitution, thereby holding the country at hostage for about 7 months, was unpatriotic and counterproductive to the Liberian democratic principles. He further commended former House Speaker Councillor Jonathan Funati Kofa and the Supreme Court for standing by the law and his subsequent resignation, which he said has set the benchmark for good governance and constitutional principles. Kautu emphasized that every salary and benefit received by Speaker Richard Coon prior to his election as legitimate Speaker of the House will be accounted for by the next government to assume power comes 2029. A strong supporter of the Congress for Democratic Change, Rebecca Yearing, is appealing to partisans of the CDC, philanthropics, well-meaning Liberians, and government officials to assist her get 1 bonus of zinc, 8 bags of cement, 20 pieces of bricks, and few bags of broken tie. She said, as the rainy season draws nearer, her residence is in a dilapidated state, and if nothing is done to tackle the situation, it might lead to serious deteriorating conditions. Rebecca, who lives with her 5 years old grandchild, noted that when the rain falls, her entire room gets flooded. As a result, they have nowhere to rest. She and her grandchild, Yerin, who has supported the CDC, has a die-hard sedition for several years, said once those materials are available, she will be grateful and will have no other request to make. Thanks so much for rejoining us on the news program. A strong supporter of the Congress for Democratic Change, Rebecca Vierin, is appealing to partisans of the CDC, philanthropists, well-meaning Liberians, and government officials to assist her get 1 bonus of zinc, 8 bags of cement, and 20 pieces of brick. She spoke to Newsman.
To all sedition or born sedition. We're not talking about a counterfeit sedition. We're talking about a born sedition. I come to them to really help me when we're up and down in our ring. They do the sun. So I come for help. The rain that come in, not small rain. For them to help him with the zinc and cement. Me face my plate. When it rain, the water can go in my room. The plan and no good push, now good, but no push. And then back time coming down to government hospital, government hospital, the water can go all the way in my room. So the area I want face, I'm not renting, I'm not paying $5. Okay. But only one face to the place for the rain is too much. This year it will really rain. So I'm begging all citizens all over the world. All over the world, whatsoever, brothers and sisters, unless you're not real born citizen, you not wake up during that time when we're running. They call me rush hour one. But so they say rush hour, people know me from Right Hand Street because I'm popular. But so they say rush hour, people know me straight. They say, yeah, I want my own air. I want my own air. Take my patient when we're running. Okay. On Lynn Street. Okay. Then the president myself, yeah, me here. Then the president where I pay my due to identify myself as citizen. My document or citizen, everything is there. But I'm working for people to know that I'm a citizen. I'm not a citizen by more. I'm a citizen by blood. You open the door, you enter my room. You open the door, you enter my room. The only thing you can see in my room. When you open the door, you enter my room. The only thing you can see in my room is sedition paper. And they want another thing to face the whole push. We can't get no zinc for the push. So the cement, to put the cement in the black, to put it to the bar way and put cement in the room. And so carry the person can help me with 8 bags or 9 bags. 9 bags the highest than the 9 bags with the breaking the tar for Johnson Street.
Or the broken tar.
The broken tar will only.
She's Madam Rebecca Yearing, a strong supporter of the Congress for Democratic Change, in conversation with Newton Tukpa of our staff. Representative Anthony Williams of District Number 2, Maryland County, has raised serious concern over the illegal presence of Burkina national in the southeastern region of Liberia. Speaking in an interview Thursday, Representative Williams disclosed that the Burkinabes are not residing in local villages, but are instead occupying remote forest areas, primarily in the counties of Rivergy, Bronx, Maryland, and Nimba County.
I want to extend, my thanks for being curious, about the communication that was being raised or being read on the floor today by the Deputy Chief Clerk regarding the Burkinabes and the influx of Burkinabes in the southeast in other counties around Liberia. Like I said, during my presentation towards the plenary, I informed the plenary that my attention has been drawn to the Burkina situation in the southeast, based upon the committee that I was serving on LRRC at first. I had an opportunity to go along with the former LRRC director to visit the southeast, which is Nimba County, from Nimba County, Bon County, Nimba, Grange, Rivergy, Maryland, and other counties. And then while we were on that tour, we realized that there was an influx of Burkinabes into the rural forest, unknown to even the immigration authority. And the citizens in that area raised alarm about the Burkinabes being in the forest. One of the issues that they raised was that the Burkinabes are not basing in the towns, but they are just in the forest. So what happened to them is that the Burkinabes presence in the forest, they were first of all encroaching on the deforestations. They were being affected. The protected species in the forests were also being destroyed by them. And then the land grab in the forest were also issues that were being raised by the people. And then we thought it was just an ordinary issue. And when we get to second period, they also raised it, and we went there. They called the Burkinabes. They were almost in the thousands in Nimba County. We went to Grange there. We also met another thousands around the Town area. And very in Houston, we got to Rivergy, same thing. We got to Maryland. I myself from Plebo, I never knew that Burkinabes were in Plebo until we got to Plebo. And I saw Burkinabes. I was like, how? They say, yeah, the guys are living in the forest and they speak French and those ones speak English. And they are there without women. They're just in the forest. And then, so what clicked to my mind, retrospecting on the engagement, retrospecting on the war that was fought in this country, almost all of the guys who were trained, I'm a trained soldier from Burkina from Burkina Faso, so I thought that it was dangerous for our country.
He's Anthony Williams, representative of District Number 2, Maryland County, that's speaking in an interview with a team of journalists. The office of Mangibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill has suspended its Mangibi County coordinator, Cyrus Adil Conan, for time indefinite in connection to alleged motorbike theft. Speaking on Radio Mangibi recently, the chief of office staff in the offices of Senator McGill, Vermont Gray, said any action which has the propensity to undermine the senator office by staffers will be resisted, told the Corps.
Okay. A zero grant for alleged criminal. If you are involved, if you are working in the office of Senator McGill, we expect you to move out there with a clean and clear corridor. Okay. Anything other than that will result into action taken by the office. So we got information that one of our staff members was involved into some alleged criminal activity. The reason we say alleged because there's a full-scale investigation currently being conducted by the Liberia National Police, and the outcome of that investigation has not been made known to us yet. Until that is being made known to us, then we might assign a lot of terminology to it. But as far as we're concerned now, is an alleged criminal activities. So what we did as an office, we already, as you can see, I've given you a copy. We suspended the staff member involved in person of Mr. Cyrus Kona. Cyrus Kona has been suspended for time indefinite from the office of Senator McGill, and he's not just been suspended. We will serve his letter right after this this interview, okay. And he is to turn over all access materials that is in possession currently to Mr. Daddy Gibson, okay, and Mr. 40K Rogers. Mr. 40K Rogers is the chairman of the Porcupine Movement Kakatan branch. Mr. Daddy Gibson is currently the political advisor in the office of Senator McGill. So that's the reason why we're here. Okay. And let me be clear with this, because we've heard a lot of news coming from Kakata. The reason why I'm chief of staff in the office in the McGill, because I have exhibited clean character. And the reason why we continue to maintain all the staffers in the office of Senator McGill, because they continue to exhibit clean and clear character. Okay. But if a staffer in our office is involved into anything that does not represent the office of Senator McGill, that person, the first step is to suspend. He's been suspended, as I said. Mm-hmm. And if the result of that full-scale investigation found him guilty, he will be permanently disassociated from the office. Okay. I'm saying this, it goes to all the staff members, even those who are involved into devious or financial practices.
He's this chief of office staff in the office of Mankibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill. They are speaking. He's Vama grade. Several victims of the Tototal Tenga explosion have announced plans to stage a peaceful protest on Saturday in Tototal Salala District, Bon County. Speaking Thursday on a local radio station in Banga, Ali Conan, spokesperson for the victims, stated that the committee has initially pledged to provide a comprehensive report detailing donations and relief package. Conan expressed concern over the apparent lack of support for victims, despite what he described as huge donation intended for their recovery. We hope to bring you that assets in our subsequent newscast. Today's development, a staunch members of the Congress for Democratic Change, Neve Kautu, has expressed dissatisfaction over the election of Richard Kuhn as Speaker of the 55th National Legislature. Kautu indicated that the action of some lawmakers by circumventing the Liberian Constitution, thereby holding the country at hostage for about 7 months, was unpatriotic and counterproductive to Liberian democratic principle. He spoke when he appeared on the CDC Hour.
If you have a speaker that was elected by a member of the House and there is a law and rule that govern the House, and to see some member of the House going against their law, and the Constitution of Liberia, it baffles me, because everything we do in this country, we do it in line with the law. Even before they get at the capital, the law that take them at the capital, because the Constitution say so month after 6 years, so month we should go to elections, and within the election we should go do voter registration and go and vote. It is what that carry them at the Capitol building. But to see some lawmaker going against the law of the country and even their own rule, it baffles me. But I'm a commend Fonati Kofa for taking a great stand, that even a woman in the market know that yes, what Fonati Kofa did, he was in line with the law, and the Supreme Court came out ruling that Fonati Kofa won a case, but he did it at his own will, say, let me resign. So I'm a comment for that. And those guys on the other side, the illegal group, because I will not refer to them as majority group. They are not majority group because we gave them the urge to keep doing what they did. Because we refer to them as majority group. What we needed to do is that to tell them that you people are illegal group. They were not going to go far with the issue of 7 months fighting. Because even if you look at what they did yesterday, it baffled me, because people continue to play on the mind, on the intelligence of we Liberian. You tell us the Supreme Court ruling, what it comes down with, it was not legal or was not what fight. Then you come out and write a teacher say the law is the law. It's a contradiction. What would people who claim to be school? People will claim that the benefit he received. The next government that will come to power, Richard Kuhn will give account of that. Every cent that he will use illegally, purporting himself to be speaker, he will get account. Take it from me. And at that time, Boka will not be in power, and Boka will not be able to stand with him like that. was just on the air. I was telling you about the issue of Barney Samuka with Ellen.
The voice of Never Kotu that's speaking when he appeared on the CC Hour on Kings FM. Senate liaison officer John Sain has announced that the House of Representatives will initiate proceedings to petition the impeachment of the justice as the Chief Justice and all associate justices of the Supreme Court. In an interview Thursday, Senator Johnson said Liberians are becoming increasingly aware that the court decision lacked neutrality. He spoke to journalists in Monrovia.
Or put our country into war. That statement he made saved our country, right? Because everybody knew that the Supreme Court was their ruling was political. Their ruling had some criminal intent. Their ruling wanted to put our country into war and bring down the government. All of them that signed it. That was their intention. And the manner in which President Barker spoke, he said, we acknowledge your ruling. I will call it a messy ruling. He didn't say so. I'm saying so. We acknowledge your ruling. We will work with the quorum. He didn't say I will work with Richie Kuhn. He didn't say I will work with Kufa. If you have the strength, muscle, 37%, I will do business with you. And if he has not done that, this country will be at war by this time. But because of his wisdom, his thinking on Liberia, how he want Liberia to be, he made, and that was the patriotic statement delivered by the president. In the same token, the Richard Kuhn group then went to the Supreme Court and filed something for re-argument or re-hearing. Those two things saved the country. And so I want to commend them. Because the so-called members of the Supreme Court were ready now. The four justices were ready for this country to be at war. But this time we'll be running head and starter. So now they were digging for us with John Hawaii. And we're moving on now. By next month, we start a consultation. Trust me. We will start holding consultation about how people honor the law. We have the right. We're not going to protest. We have the right to petition the legislation to do what we want them to do for us. And so I'm trying to put some group together. We will petition the House of Representatives to begin the impeachment proceeding against those people calling themselves associate justice and chief justice who wanted to push our country into.
The voice of former Bomi County Senator Sandal Darcy Johnson and now presidential liaison officer at the legislature, they're speaking. Now to foreign development, the Gambian government has announced an investigation into the sales of assets seized from former President Yahya Jammeh following widespread public concern. Some of the assets, including livestock and luxurious vehicles, were sold off while a panel was still investigating the wealth Jammeh amassed during his 22 years rule. A newspaper investigation exposed alleged irregularities and an apparent lack of transparency in the sales of the assets, sparking protests organized by young people. In a television address on Wednesday night, President Adama Barrow pledged full transparency in the probe, saying assets recovered belong to the people. Jammeh also seized power in 1994 coup, is accused of orchestrating the huge theft of government funds, as well as extensive human rights abuses, including killing and jailing his critics. The former leader, who in 2017 fled into exile in Equatorial Guinea after losing election, has previously denied allegations of wrongdoing. Paramilitary factors appear to have opened a new phase in Sudan's civil war after being driven from the capital in a move which some experts have described as a shock and awe campaign. Just weeks after the army celebrated the recaptures of Khartoum, it follows the Rapid Support Forces RSF launched a series of unprecedented drone strikes on Port Sudan in the east of the country. The attack have led to worsening power blackout, as well as cities residents facing water shortages. It is a level of power projection within this region that we haven't seen yet, say Alan Boswell, the Horn of Africa expert for the International Crisis Group. I think it raises the stake quite a bit, he added. The barrage of attack on the wartime capital and humanitarian hubs signals that the RSF is determined and able to carry on the fight despite significant territorial losses, and it has showcased the growth of advanced drone warfare in Africa. From the foreign development, this is how we like to conclude this evening news presentation. But before we go, stories we closely carried. Former House of Representatives Speaker, Councillor Jonathan Funati Kofa is requesting a 2-month medical leave and constituency visit from the House of Representatives. Sarah victims of the December 26, 2023 Tenga explosion have announced plan to stage a peaceful protest this Saturday in Totota Bonk in demands of benefits. The office of Mangibi County Senator Natanya McGill suspends its Mangibi County Coordinator Sarah Adiu Kona for time indefinite in connection to alleged motorbike theft. And away from Liberia, Gambian government has announced an investigation into the sales of assets seized from former President Yahya Jammeh following widespread public concern. Many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, and contributors who helped in making this evening news presentation a success. On behalf of the entire news team here at Royal Multimedia Group, my name is Otis Sankan. I presented. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Good evening.